Welcome, everyone. This is Matt from drawingtutorialsonline.com. Welcome to another live stream. And in this class, what we're going to be doing is just having some fun drawing this really awesome statue. It's called Ugolino and Sons, and the anatomy on it is just really spectacular. Rick had asked me, I think once or twice, to do some male anatomy. I primarily draw female stuff. So I figured why not? It'd be a change of pace. Uh, hey, Elizabeth, welcome to the live stream. And Mac Simlaz. Yeah, that's a tough one. Welcome, welcome, Max. All right. Yeah. So, all right. What are we doing here? We're going to be drawing this statue. I remember before, this is before drawingtutorialsonline.com, maybe 2004, 2005, 2003. I used to teach people at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. I used to teach people private one-on-one lessons there, and we used to meet at this statue. This is called the European Sculpture Court. Let me just kind of give you a clue as to what I'm talking about here, and then we'll come back. So this is the full statue. We are so not drawing the full statue today, but maybe we're going to draw the dad and part of the dad, I should say. And I've drawn everybody on this statue. It's just a really, really good statue. And it's just a great way to teach figure drawing, especially with a one-on-one. The Metropolitan Museum is definitely by far one of my most favorite places on the planet. However, like they're not really artist friendly. Like in the European Sculpture Court, we're going to get started drawing here in like a minute, I promise you. In the European Sculpture Court, they used to have all chairs in there, and you could move the chairs, and artists could move the chairs and draw from all of these like wonderful statues. And they've done away with all of the chairs. I think they have like maybe 2 or 3 chairs. The last time I was there, they barely had any. And hey, Alexander, welcome. And the guards are so strict, like you can't even move the chairs the way that you used to. It's like ridiculous. And so, hey, that's New York, and that's the museum, and New York is just all about rules. I mean, my God, you walk into Central Park, and there's a sign everywhere telling you what to do, what not to do, and how to breathe, and it's just ridiculous. So that's the Met. It comes with that little price of being in New York City, where New York City just loves rules. Okay, so now with that being said, let's get started. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to kind of go with the flow today. It's flipping 19 degrees here on Long Island, super cold. This afternoon on my Zoom class, I'm going to be doing an underpainting of the Ang Princess. I forgot how to pronounce about their name, De Broglie, but we're just going to say the princess. We're going to start that underpainting today there. In my spring semester, I'm putting up a piece of paper here. We're going to do warm-up in like 10 seconds. We're going to be doing some oil painting in the spring semester at drawingtutorialsonline.com. It's going to be fun. We're going to do an Ang painting, the princess painting, and then we're going to do a Zorn painting called, I think it's the Bread Makers, which is a little complicated, but I'm really looking forward to it. All right, so just poured myself a little coffee. Thank you to all 19 of you who are watching. Batman, welcome. Okie dokie. So you know what the drill is. Let me switch cameras here, and let's just do a quick like little warm up. Let's just keep this on the screen for now, although I am going to move this. Well, let's not move it over and say we did. Let's leave that right there. Okie dokie. So yeah, all right, let's do this. So what am I going to do in my predictable warm-up? This for me is just absolutely the most important thing to do. So I am going to do my ovals, okay? I did some drawing yesterday. I worked a little bit on the under drawing for the princess underpainting that we're going to be doing here today, later today in my Zoom class. So I did draw a little bit yesterday. I'm talking like minimal. So, okay, we've just danced down with some ovals, and now I love ellipses. I love doing these mummification lines where we're putting linen stripes around the ovals, and I like to rotate like in different directions. And this is just such a great way to warm up. And so then after that, let's just do the letter C. Let's do the opposite letter C. Let's do the letter C. Let's do a line of action a little bit longer. Now, maybe what we can do is we can just do a little bit of a torso, maybe a little bit of a navel, perhaps the bottom of the rib cage, maybe the letter C for the face, maybe the letter C for that quad muscle, opposite letter C for that leg, and perhaps now I'm going to do a line of action down to that foot. I'm going to connect those feet with a connector, and maybe I'll just do some ovals just like what I'm doing over there for the breast of the model. Now I can just do deltoid, bicep, letter C, forearm, opposite letter C, and perhaps just like an oval for the top of the hair. So that is all the same thing. It's just that we're drawing one side of the oval, the opposite side of the oval, and it's this rhythmic way that I've mentioned on every single live stream that I've ever drawn here. And now, look, I'm doing these ellipses, these round lines that kind of curve around the body. Now what I can do with my warm-up is just some angles to make things look a little bit more complicated with this. We're going to get to drawing this statue momentarily, but this is just a really, really super duper great way to warm up. Okie dokie. So now, where am I? Okay, we've got Sanif or Sat. I can't pronounce that. Hey, welcome. SANFF5488. God, I could draw, but I can't talk. So let's just do maybe a little bit more over here, a convex line, and then coming on down. So what I like to do when I'm drawing is I start with these rhythmic ovals, the rhythmic opposite letter C's that represent one side of the ovals, these ellipses that wrap around, and then I start to draw that into a model utilizing the same technique. And now when I draw out of my imagination as well as drawing from the model, what I also stress to people is the importance of also being able to draw with these angles. Let me move myself here for a moment. So the angles is just a fun way to draw. I used to draw this way all the time, and it's my foundational skill for everything. And so what you try to do, which I'm not doing a great job here, is you try to draw a shape and then you draw the same shape. And what we say over and over again is that this equates to kind of like when you were in grade school and you were learning how to write letters. They were basically shapes, and that you practice copying the shapes of the letter A, the letter B, the letter C, whatever, and that is how you learned how to write accurately. And to me, writing, drawing, it's not the same thing. Especially with cursive, but it is the same thing, if you really think about it. So these angles are important. Like, let's just try, I'm trying to tie everything together here. So the angles are very important simply because, there's going to be a time and a place where maybe you want to use angles instead of the curvy lines. So I'll just come on in maybe with this foot, and I'll throw in some angles there, maybe the tops of the toes, maybe near the kneecap region. I'm going to do some angles. And so it's important to incorporate these angles, what we're doing over here, in conjunction with these curvy lines, because what that will do is it'll show soft tissue, which is muscle, and then bone at joints, because that's where you're usually going to wind up seeing these angles. It's going to be at the joints. And then the last thing that I like to do with my warm-ups, since I draw with shading all the time, even on my gesture drawings, is that I love to just practice quickly drawing a solid shape. Now, if that means I need to go back over it, I'll go back over it, but I like to try to do it first with a mid-tone. So now what I'm doing here is I'm just simply using a vertical line, and I'm trying my very best to shade in a solid way. And that is very different than using this line over here. So now what I can do is I'm just drawing out of my imagination right now, and I could say, oh, this is my line that separates, and now I can just simply come on in, and with my vertical shading line, my pencil's getting a little duller now, on part of that body, I could start to, hey, Elizabeth, welcome. Um, I know you're saying hi to everybody. I just saw that. Yeah. So now what you can do is you can start to use some shading along with your line. That is very organic. So just to recap before we get started with our Ugolino Muscle Man, what we're doing here is ovals, gestural opposite Cs. Now, the opposite Cs always get taken out of context by people. And people say that when you draw the opposite Cs, you're drawing like somebody who looks like a balloon and not necessarily a figure. So what you've got to understand is it's not like really that perfectly round opposite C or letter C, and then it just is like this round thing that kind of goes like that. No, it's more complicated. This is just quick stuff. Like, so now you can come on in and make this leg. You can really pay attention to the ins and outs, aka these angles on top of the simplistic letter C. And then what's going to also wind up happening is you're going to have convex lines that roll in and around the form, and that usually happens at joints. And so that also takes the opposite primitive letter C thing and makes it more complicated, and is just another layer to the onion. Hope that made sense. Well, I don't know, Elizabeth, if how far I'm gonna do, how far I'm gonna draw this this statue. We're gonna start at the torso. Yeah, the feet are out of control, and everything on this statue is completely out of control. I've drawn every single part of it for students. Like, I remember there was a wonderful student. I don't know where they are or what they've been doing, but their name is Julia. And I used to meet with Julia every Saturday morning at the Met. It used to be just like completely empty, and we drew this statue together. And I would say, all right, Julia, what are you struggling with? What do you need my help with? And I would be drawing next to her, and she's like, can you draw those feet? I don't know how. So I would start to draw the feet, and I would teach Julia, see, this is what I'm doing. This is my mindset. And Julia would look at my drawing and look at me as I was drawing, because she was sitting to my left. And it was just great for her to, yeah, and it was great for me too. It was a ton of fun. Okay, let's get rid of the warm-up sheet. It's just a really cheap piece of paper. And now I've got my, what is this stuff called again? I've got the pad right down over there. Let me grab it. 1 second. So today I'm using the Legion Stonehenge colors, and the colors, hold on now. Colors are really not that noticeable. Like, you won't notice them on YouTube, but maybe a little bit. There's like, this is like a yellow cream. Then the one that I'm using is a little bit of a neutral beige, not really a warm beige. So I like this pad a lot. It is, it's not giving me the weight. Yeah, I guess it's, yeah, I don't know. Okay, it's pretty thick paper. Not the thickest I've drawn with, but pretty thick for sure. Now, I don't know, people. Rick Hines just said, "Hey, Matt, can you draw some muscles, like a muscular guy?" And I'm like, "Sure." I mean, we alternate male female every week in my class, and so I'm very very comfortable with drawing guys. It's not a problem. It's just I prefer drawing the female form. But I'm just gonna start. Let's see here. If I start with the upper left of the dad's back, let me do this. Let me do this. Is this better? So I've got the dad here, and I've got also the left son whom I've drawn multiple times before. That's such a cool view. But let's just deal with the dad for now, and maybe I'll keep this up, and then I'll zoom out in a little bit. So now, if I start here, which if I start here, I have room for the head. Okay, now if I start here, I don't have room for the left son. I'm definitely not getting to that today, but I can always expand on this. And it doesn't, the left son, yeah, sure, the legs go to the left. So maybe I should start the shoulder. Well, no, maybe I should start the shoulder here. And yeah, okay. So I'll do that. I'll start right there. Now, let me just go to the dad. Um, and I just want to get started, and then I'll zoom in. Just give me a moment. I know that this isn't that exciting right now. It's probably me starting small like this is probably like you watching paint dry, but I'll get there. I'll get there. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm starting with this angle. Now, this is different. I could do some gesture stuff, but I don't want to. I just kind of want to treat this a little bit more angular. So I'm starting with the angle. I wish I can point to the photo, but I can't. Let's just say it's the top left shoulder. And then I'm coming around with the roundness of the upper back. And then that is a convex line that's going to roll in. And so now I'm going to continue down over here. And that's also a convex line that rolls in. Now that could be, oh God, that could be this muscle on coming from the back of your scapula called teres. No, I don't think it's teres minor is probably this that's rolling in, and it's coming in there. But I don't want to get caught into the weeds just yet. And quite frankly, that needs to be a little bit lower. Okay, so let me just focus in on the edge here. So I'm just focusing in on the edge. Let me zoom in. I'm sorry. I know this is probably tiny. Not that that makes a whole lot of difference. Okay, hold on. Let me just look at the chat. Artnon, welcome. So what I'm doing here is I am just trying to get started with drawing just a part of the model's shoulder. And now I'm going further down, and I'm looking for the overall angle of the upper back. So I love drawing edges. Some teachers would say what I'm doing here is very, very wrong. But it's fine. You know, everybody's got to start their own way, and this is one way that I like to start for a little bit of a longer drawing. So now I'm going to start to roll into the body here, and next I'm going to just draw the lat muscle. So it comes in. I'm drawing also, it's a lat muscle, but also it's a shadow shape, and to the arm. So now I'm going to, let's see if this is this. How far down is this teres major? And that's a shadow. And then this is our line that separates the light from the dark on the lat muscle. And so what I'm going to do early on in this sketch, which will be a drawing, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I'm just going to put in a little bit of shading. And so now I'm going to come in and I'm going to start to establish this arm. So now the deltoid here, it's a little closer to the edge of the model's body. So I want to make sure that that is proper placement. So it really angles. Maybe I'll angle it. And I'm going to come on down. Wow, this paper is beautiful for this. With this pencil combination. I'm using a Colorace. You could use any pencil that you like. Now, this arm here would be my letter C, and I'm drawing it simply first. We'll come back to it and make it look a little bit more complicated. Now, if you can just indulge me for a second, I've got to move my sheet of paper over to the left because I want you to see my hand when I'm drawing with my fingers versus drawing with my hand versus drawing with my arm. Okay, that's going to be a little bit better. Let me just tape this back down. Okay, cool. No. This is the shoulder, Elizabeth. This I said I'm starting with the top of the shoulder here. This would be trapezius. And now I'm starting with the deltoid. So the deltoid, this is all very light. I'm going a little bit darker so you can actually see what the heck I'm even doing here. Now, I shouldn't be using my eraser early on, but I want to just erase this. Okay. And so now I'm going to just get in this deltoid. Now, this is a little bit of a different style of drawing. This is this spiraling out from style that I like to use. So this is the lateral head of the deltoid, your shoulder muscle. And now we've got a little bit of a convex. I want to establish the teres, or teres, however you want to say it, major little indent over there coming into the lat. Good. We've got our triceps. And now our front head of that deltoid is here, attaching to the collarbone. This is what my animation students do not like. They do not just like focusing in on one area and starting to render it. They really like gesture. And I like, that's what department they're in, and you got to respect that. And I do. And we do that mainly. But there's something to be said for this style of drawing also, and trying to mix it up no matter what major you are, whether you're an illustration major, fine arts major, or an animation major. Yeah, okay, I'm going to move the deltoid over to the right. And this really angles. This would be attaching to the collarbone. So now what we have over here is a round deltoid. And, here's the collarbone. So where is this collarbone in relationship to the top of the shoulder? We've got separation in the deltoid. And I think it's here, the collarbone. So I'm just getting that in. Bottom of the collarbone. How far away is that from the top of the trapezius? That's your question. And now right over here on the trapezius, since this dad is extremely cut and super thin, that's a shadow shape, and we can just do a couple of form lines that wrap around that. Now, I'm going to keep moving, and then I can come back, and I could adjust. J-Ring 383. Hey, Matt, longtime fan. I used to be a DTO member back in, 211, 212. My God, that was so long ago. That's when the site was at its pinnacle with a gazillion members. And that was a very long time ago. So you were a member back in the day. Wow, thank you so much for that. Appreciate it. The site has changed a little bit now. It's more of like a boutique site where I'm really able to, now I'm looking at the negative space between the deltoid and the wrist. I'm really able to spend a little bit more time on each critique and really get to know some of the members through the Zoom class. Most of the content that is produced now on my website is done in semesters, where we have the fall semester, summer semester, winter, spring semester, and the semesters are the same as the School of Visual Arts college semester, and that's how I primarily make videos right now for the website, and I absolutely love it. Now, this bend in the arm, what's right across from it? This is how we get our proportions. It's slightly lower than the lat. So maybe I can raise that. And now let me just put in a little shadow shape over here. And thank you for stopping by and saying hello. Wow, it's so sad. You know, I have a French bulldog and truffles, white truffles, and I had black Chloe. And so they were like a black and white cookie. They were really fun together. Had to put Chloe down back in May, and Truffles is getting really old now. Also, like I think 11 with a bad hip. And I just ordered a gate for the bottom of my steps because she keeps trying to climb the steps, and she keeps falling. So to make a long story short, my wife just sent me a picture from 2011, 2012 when we got her from the when we purchased Truffles, and my kids were so small back then. Now, listen, I got to be careful with this arm that it doesn't become too big. It is big, but you know, right now I'm losing a little context with it. So I'm going to move and not get stuck in that area, and I'm going to draw part of the back. And then that back is starting to roll in to one of the son's head, I should say. And so here's the lat muscle, and then it comes down to the other son's hair. So let's just establish that, okay? Now, hold on a second, 1 second. I always like putting this down on the edge. I forgot to do it today, just so the camera just looks at something dark. Let me just get my coffee. Okay. Now, if I knew now, I do know now. If I knew then what I know now about my website and not getting burned out, because I literally had two websites back in the day. I had my painting tutorials online and my drawing tutorials online.com, and I was putting out so much content that I just and I was also teaching a couple of college courses. I just completely burned myself out and destroyed myself. And yeah, I had a lot going on in life also with having young children, doing lots of stuff to my house, and too much. I didn't pace myself. I did not pace myself. And when you're constantly outputting content, it could really destroy you. So I've learned, I have a little bit more wisdom now about being a content creator in tandem with being a college teacher, that you got to be careful that you don't burn yourself out. And it's just as important to take in content as it is to output content. So you can't just always give. You have to take stuff in also to nourish your mental capacity. And so now what did I do here? I should be explaining this as I'm drawing it now. Let me get my remote and zoom in a little bit. I have to get new cameras. I say it every single live stream. But the new camera that I want is super expensive, and I don't think it has a remote. And I love zooming in and out. So that's going to be a game changer for me, to have a camera that doesn't have the ability to zoom in and out. Now, maybe I'm wrong about the new camera, and maybe I need to do a little bit more research. So now this is an oblique. These are also linear things that are combination ribs, oblique. This is called serratus anterior, that comes from your scapula. So we have these fingers, 1, 2, 3, 4 fingers. This is abs, fold of skin, and then we have like a little navel over here. So what I've got to really, really, really super duper pay attention to is I need to pay attention. There's deltoid. Wow, this pencil on this paper is amazing. Deltoid. I need to make sure that the distance from one of the son's hair to the tricep is not too wide. That will skew everything. So now I want to match shapes. I want to come over here and draw this little shadow shape over here. And this is the Ugolino. So the story with this, I'm really not an art historian. Out of everything with art, I pay attention to art history the least. But I got this from the Met collection, and I did read or listen to the video. And the story is that Ugolino and his sons were locked up in jail, and they were all dying of starvation. And that's why Ugolino looks so thin. And then the artist who worked on this literally put up an entire family of models, and worked with them every day, alternating who they worked with. And just because, like, it was a full family and he needed access to the models. And these are really tough poses, and it's hard to hold these poses for long. So that sort of thing doesn't happen where nowadays where there'll be an artist and they'll hire a whole family of models to stay in a hotel and work with them on a continuous basis. Like, that's unheard of nowadays. Okay, so now this is where you can start to lose context here. Mozambique. Oh, wow. Holy Moses, Mozambique. That's cool. That's very cool. Welcome. Okie dokie. So now, what we see, what I need to do next is establish another shape here. Now, I could just I could just fuss with this section for a little bit and resolve it, but I don't want to bore you to death. I want to move around just a wee bit more. I am establishing this dark in the lat. And now I just want to pay attention to my edges. Serratus anterior edges, just trying to make that look a little bit more complicated. Let's add a couple of form lines over here. Can you even see what I'm doing? Thank you. I don't know how to pronounce your name. I want to say Arthur, but I don't think it's Arthur because there's no H there. So I apologize for the mispronunciation. A couple of form lines over there. This is that teres major. And yeah, like I love drawing these types of statues. I really like drawing all of these muscles and stuff. It's very different than like for me, I just like drawing people who are in shape. Like, I'm trying to get in shape. I am not in shape as much as, other people are. But if I were to pose on the model stand, I would call myself a regular Joe Schmo. So I don't like drawing regular Joe Schmoes. I like drawing people who are like athletes, performers, dancers, all these people I really like to draw because they're really in tune with their body. They're really muscular. They really know how to pose. And, what is also nice about drawing this type of statue is that we are drawing something where an artist has already put so much thought into. And so you're drawing something that was already figured out. So the pose is already good. Like, you could have a great model. Now I'm looking at the distance from here to the knee. You can have a great model, but that doesn't mean that every pose that you get is going to be a home run, right? Sometimes they're not home runs. And you, especially in a live drawing class scenario, you could be sitting down and you could just get like not a good view, but somebody across from you in the classroom could have gotten the great view. So, like, this is just a great view on every single side of this particular statue. Okay. Let me pause for a second and look at the chat. So, Matt, for my own knowledge, and excuse me for how I explain it, but I'm Dutch. What is the pressure you use on your pencil? It's like scratching, or is it like stroking the skin gently? That's so funny, Elizabeth, because in my first class on Thursday, the fourth year students, like one of the students, they never took my foundation drawing class, just my perspective class. And they asked me, they're like, can you draw on my hands? I want to feel the pressure that you're using on the paper. And I just what I let me get my scrap piece of paper, Elizabeth, and let me just use this. Okay, time out now. Time out. Oops, this is no good. Hold on. Let me tape that sheet of paper down. So, Elizabeth, it would have been nice if I would have given myself a place to draw on the scrap piece of paper. Here we go. So, look at this side of my hand, and the side of my little finger. See how it's straight, my little finger? So I rest that. Let me remove my thumb. See how that's on the paper? And it looks like that. So then I just hold my pencil the normal way. Okay. I don't hold it here. I used to do that. You change, you go through phases. There's no right and there's no wrong. I just right now, in the phase that I'm in, I hold my hand like that. I put that on the paper. I hold my pencil normally. And so, look, do you see me, Elizabeth? I am not moving my fingers. I am not moving my fingers. So what I like to do, Elizabeth, is I just like to practice. I'm not moving my fingers. I'm just moving my arm. And what you could do is practice doing a light line, just like that. Now, you could also practice pressing down harder. So now I'm trying to notice what I'm doing right now so I can explain it to you. I am putting pressure on my fingers. I'm moving my fingers and I am pressing down with 1, 2, 3. These three fingers, my pointer, my index, and my thumb, I guess a thumb is not called a finger. I'm pressing down harder, but then I also now I'm using less pressure in those fingers. Okay. Now, okay, Elizabeth, check this out. So this is what you've got to practice. Again, draw the square or the rectangle, whatever, and just practice. Now I'm moving my fingers because I'm working in a small area, but all the weight is on my hand, not my pencil tip. And I'm just doing light pressure. And so light pressure is harder to do for some people than dark pressure because people are heavy handed. And so now I'm pressing down harder, harder pressure, practicing to gradate, go to lighter pressure. So harder pressure, pressing down lighter with my fingers, stressing less and light pressure on the fingers. So this takes the weight of my arm, and then the pressure comes from those fingers. I like that. You got it. That's a great explanation. Your words are much better than mine. So now, okay, so with Elizabeth, let me just kind of follow through for you here. So like when I'm doing gesture drawing, what I'm doing is I'm not moving my fingers. Like I'm using like like my arm is moving, not my fingers. What I'm working on a small drawing right now. So what I'm doing is I'm moving my fingers, not so much my arm. Okay, so in gesture drawing class, 2 minute, 1 minute, 3 minute style drawings, I draw with my arm. This is more what I would equate to modeling. Rendering is what some, hold on, teachers like to say. And so, yeah, I'm drawing with my fingers. Yes, thank you. Now, the big thing for me that I'm looking at that I cannot judge yet. I cannot judge if from here to here is too wide. Now, let me look at some mini measurements. Let's look at the measurement from I think this is called the brachioradialis section. So I'm looking from here to here on the deltoid. So I'm looking at that distance, and it's a little long on my drawing, damn it. Let's come back to this deltoid, and let's look at this distance. I think I could make the wrist wider. Yes. Bring the bicep in. So now I'm going to move, just bear with me, everybody on YouTube. I'm going to move my drawing off to the left because I'm going to maybe sketch in the other arm. I need that other arm to, even in a gestural sort of way, to let me know if what I'm drawing is in correct proportion. Almost there. Okie dokie. So now let's just suggest, okay, we've got the model's pointer finger, Ugolino, I should say, and then that finger. Oh, wow. Okay, I'm glad that I did this. So collarbone, deltoid, pointer finger, middle finger, tilt up. Trapezius is very close to that finger. Okie dokie. And now I'm just going to get the hand. So now I'm going to just be sketchy. So I'm going to sketch in this hand. I'm going to look at the negative space between the forearms. And I'm going to use a connector. So this knee, elbow, I'm going to connect it to the other son's back. Connector. I'm going to look at the meat of the forearm over here and look at this distance, and there's a son's head in between those two arms. So then I'm just going to say, okay, here's the wrist. Here's that other forearm shape to the elbow. Which elbow is higher than the other? This one's a little bit higher. Don't know how I'm loving this, but let's keep going. Let me not judge. And so let's just draw, not judge. So we've got this hand into the other pointer finger. Let's look at this distance. So what I should do is suggest the chin. Suggest, okay, if this is the hand and it's that close to the collarbone, the ear is to the right of that. So now I can put the ear in. So now you have to just bear with me here for a second. I'm going to lower my paper. Time out. Got 14 million different freaking pieces of tape because I want to map out the head for you. Just want to make sure the paper is level and plumb. Now, listen, everybody on YouTube. This live stream was requested by a viewer of my live streams, Rick. And so Rick wanted me to do this. And so I'm happy to do it because I love drawing this sort of stuff. So now I'm going to get, that's a big ear. And I'm doing angles for Ugolino's hair. Now, if I look at Ugolino's edge of their hair, I'm going to put my pencil on my iPad. What's right below it? So the chest here is to the left of that. So that's pinky finger, chin, thick wrist, holy Moses, and son's hair, pectoralis, chest, and then we have the hand. This hand needs to be much bigger. Okay, I'm just going to leave it like that for now. Let me just kind of map this out. Pointer fingers are almost level. This one's a little bit lower. I'm feeling this is too wide. I'm just using big angles right now. I should not be pressing down this hard, but it's just a good learning experience. Thank you, author, so much for joining. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Good luck. And Raja Hassan, welcome. Okay, we've got a couple angles there. I'm just going to put in the son's hair, one of the sons, and the son's, that's the knee. This is the son's arm. This is the son's deltoid muscle. And this is the son's hair, son's face. So I'm just going to put in a little bit of value over there. The son's trapezius and upper back on the dad's elbow. The dad is leaning their elbow on the son's upper back. Okay, cool, cool. So now, oh, okay, I'm seeing what's going on over here. This is the bicep on the other side of Ugolino. So I'm just going to get the son's hair. It's a little shadow over there. Let me resharpen my pencil. So these Colorays pencils, they don't, I'm saying a story that I've said 1,000 times, and I apologize for repeating myself. So the Colorays pencil isn't sold separately anymore. This has happened now for a few years. This is the full Colorays pencil that my daughter just gave to me because she buys the full set color and gives me the black. She doesn't use the black. So they're at such a premium that I do have hundreds of them, and I use them as small as they go in this pencil extender. And that's how I extend out the pencils. Like I've got a lot of them that are small. I used to give them to my students back in the day because I didn't like drawing with a small pencil. But now I'm very used to the pencil extender, and it has a nice balance for me, and it works. And so I've adapted to using the pen. Like there are certain pencil extenders that I can't use. Like they're too bulky. Some people use them just fine. Like I tend to be like a little bit of a baby with this stuff. So yeah, okay, I digress. Let's just get this forearm with the line that separates the light from the shadow. Kind of goes up. Let's just do a diagonal pencil stroke right now on that forearm shadow. And so let's go back to the dad. And I took my pencil out of the pencil holder, sharpened it, and I never sharpened it. Okay. Now, the father, Ugolino, I have so many. Like, I remember one time, before the internet really came to be a big thing with my website and everything, and for me personally, not the world, but for me, I would just go to the museum by myself, and I would just draw stuff, and I would stay there for like 3-4 hours and just draw statues. And I have multiple drawings where I've drawn this statue. Like I remember one time I went and I just drew 2 of the sons, and I was there for hours. And that's when the Met was a little bit more user friendly to artists, where they had chairs that you can actually move and sit anywhere in that European sculpture court. And then they just are not user friendly anymore for visiting artists who want to draw. They say they are, but the guards are just so ridiculously on top of you that kind of has took the fun out of it a little bit. Yeah, okay, but I digress. I don't want to turn this into a complaint session about the Met. It's still one of my favorite places on the planet. Now, when we're drawing the dad, I don't want to stop and render too much. I also want to get big stuff, be bigger, and not be so small. Okay, cool. And I'm going to, wow, that's a huge hand. Just want to put a little shading near the chin. That will ground the head. And I think I have the head a little bit too tall. So I'm going to go with the original marks that I've made. Bring that down a little bit more. Okay, and then I got to get this eye socket thing. How we doing, people, here on the live stream? You with me? Thank you so much for watching. If you have questions, just ask. Let me know. Is this working for you? Are you getting something from this? It's a very freaking awesome statue. I'm just suggesting the eyes, cheekbone, this furrow in the brow. My God, um, tip of the nose, um, teeth. I'm just gonna leave it like that for now. I'm gonna shade the pointer finger just as a unit of shape, and then yeah, okay. So I don't know how I feel about all this in terms of its proportions. But I'm going to keep going. So I might bring this in. Yes. I'm going to bring this in. I'm going to bring this in to the right. I'm going to bring this in to the right. Yes. Okay. Better. And cool. And let's keep going. I'm going to do a little shading over here on the sun's face. There's an eye socket over here. Hair. The eye socket's a little lower. This is all a little bit in shadow over there. There's a little pocket of shadow in the deltoid. Trapezius muscle on the father's bicep. Good. So the sun's back. I'm going to lift up my sheet of paper right now. Yeah, it's complex, right? It's a fun little challenge. Like it's an exercise in looking. Remember, you've got to look more than you draw. Let me just get a little what's left of the coffee here. Now, listen, Elizabeth, I'm going to draw those hands eventually. What time is it? Okay, not too bad. But before you draw the hands, you've got to angle them out and draw the outside angles for now, just for placement. And then we could. I need more coffee. Yes, I'm gonna save. I've already. This is my third cup, so that's a lot. I'm gonna save my fourth cup for my Zoom class, because that class is hard. That class is hard. It's at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I've got to work fast in that class because it's an hour of drawing and painting time and an hour of Q&A time. So like that's no joke. Like your brain needs to be screwed on tightly to make that class work. So here's this other son's forearm elbow. Now I'm looking at the forearm elbow to the edge of the other son's hair. How wide is that? And that's not too dark, so I got to be careful with my. And now this is the other this son's elbow. And I'm going to move dad's knee to the left slightly. And then right here, we're getting a little pocket of dark. And the other son's hand. Perfect. It's kind of lining up. Forearm. It's very light here. I should not be pressing down too hard. And then the thickness of the forearm right there where I'm pointing, and then there's dad's quad. The other knee. Oh boy, I just was scared to death there. I'm like, oh my God, the quad's not going to line up with that knee. But the other knee. So if this is dad's elbow and this is the other knee here. So it's tilting down. Into the tibia. This knee angle. Now, what is above this knee? Hold on. I'm just holding my pencil. It's to the left of the eye, right about there. I'm cool with that. So this is your femur area. And then hands are blocking this knee. This is all pretty wide. Wow, there's a lot going on here. Okay, so there's a lot going on, and this is all good and fun. I just don't know how much of it to draw on this live stream. So I'm going to go back and refocus on rendering and modeling out the dad over there, making sure that I'm happy with it. Now, if I put my hand over here, I'm going to smudge everything. So maybe I hate doing this. But I'm just going to put this piece of copy paper right there. And so Batman, the reason why I drew the hands like that for now is just for placement. I'll go back into the hands after I do the dad's back side area. That's when I'll go back into the hands. So now, okay, so this is what I would call my first go through. So I went through the whole drawing once, and that's some placement, whether it's good, bad, or ugly, we don't know yet. So I thought I did make it a little too wide. That's why I moved the outside line to the inside line. Now, if you make the mistake and you can't erase it, you can always add tone in the background, and that's a cool way to deal with that. So going back to Batman, basically this is called first go through with angles, outer edge angles, okay? So I'm just going to focus in on this area. And try to get a little closer to this drawing. Let's see, we're almost an hour into the live stream. I'm going to get up soon just to stretch. I feel a little close to this thing. Hold on. I need to lower my iPad. That's better. So let's do a little deltoid. Couple form lines. Rolling in. Some form lines that are showing a semi-underplane. And then we have the teres major that is rolling into the dark halftone, I like to call it. The modeling factors of the lat muscle that is very thick, curving around the oval of this lat. A little bit of tone over there. I'm going to come back and establish the edge. That's rolling into the oval, aka Michelangelo style convex lines. We have a lesson on that. And now we're coming on into the other son's hair. We'll go over that line a couple of times. And we're back up top now to the deltoid. Trapezius area. Yes. Cool. So this is all fairly light over here. I don't want to overmodel that right now. So now we have curved deltoid. A little pocket over here. Little shadow shape of the anterior head of the deltoid. And curve around. And a little bit of tricep action. So now what I'm doing is I'm just trying to place stuff a little bit more intentionally and model it at the same time, and modeling it with some form, with paying attention to edges, and really trying to make things look a little bit more refined and complicated. And just looking more. This is a little bit of a harder edge. There's a reflected light over there. Now, I could also use my brush to soften all of this. I don't know if I want to do that, but I am having fun doing what I'm doing so far. So we have a little bit of the abs. And now this ab is an oval, and this would be the shadow side of that oval. I would love to sculpt for sure. I just need to pick and choose my battles with what I choose to do with life in terms of where I spend my time. And I learned a very long time ago not to spread myself too thin, because then everything just starts to become mediocre instead of good. So right now I am not sculpting. I would love to. Maybe when I retire, if I retire, I'll pick up sculpting, but not right now. I would love to do it. I would love to. It would be a lot of fun. And I think I'd be okay with it because I understand form. So now we have a little beginning of the navel there, and that's the son's forearm. This whole ab is a little bit darker than to the left. Yeah, so I'm teaching full time just about. I'm teaching on my website, and it's huge. It's a huge schedule, and I pretty much just about almost have 90 students this semester, and that's a lot of students at SVA. So yeah, learning and practicing sculpture in the midst of everything else would be a lot, for sure. Now I'm gonna use the brush just for fun. Okay, so I could now use this paintbrush. It's just a cheap Bristol brush. Um, just to push the pencil into the paper a little bit more and model this, softening everything and getting rid of those little white dots, which is the tooth of the paper. Yeah, I like that a lot. That works for me. And so I can come over here now and just give this deltoid a little turn under, the biceps a little bit darker. I can solidify that shape on the chest. And I'm not pressing down super hard, just a little pressure. Can do it on my line as well. It just softens everything and makes everything look a little bit more atmospheric. Under the collarbone, on the chest, under the son's elbow, son's face. The bicep over here is a little darker. Get rid of all that white paper. And now I can go over the whole thing with this. Just softening everything a touch. Now, I don't know if I'm going to do background tone. Um, I could put down a little bit over here. Notice I'm not really pressing down hard just yet. I just want to kind of feel that out to see if I would even like background tone. And I don't need to do background tone everywhere. I can just do it in choice locations. I'm glad that I moved that over to the left. I usually throw out like this, what I did here today. That's going to get thrown out for sure. Uh, although I mean, I've got um, hundreds of drawing pads that probably should be thrown out, and I'm not throwing them out yet. I don't have time in my life right now to go through all of my older pads and edit them and pull out the good drawings. And yeah, time. Okay, hold on now. Let me just look at the chat. There's a couple of new questions coming in. Okay, so there's a question. Matt, I need help. Sometimes my drawings don't match the image. What to do? So basically, let me use my warm up sketch here. So let's say this is a model that we are drawing on the modeling stand in a live drawing class or from a photo. Okay. So the first thing that you need to be very much aware of is the overall gesture of the pose. So the overall gesture of the pose is I'm seeing this big gesture line, and then I'm also seeing this rhythm down of these opposite C's to the feet. So you want to look for big gestures, but then you also want to look for big angles. So there's the angle of the rib cage, the angle of the oblique slash hip, there's the angle of the upper leg, there's the angle of the lower leg. So looking for those big angles is very, very important. And then in tandem with that, you start to say and pull down measure lines like, oh, okay, so what is right below where the rib cage touches the bicep? What is right across from these toes? What is right below the face? And that's how you start to do these measurements that will help you to figure placement. That's not the only way, but that is one way to do things. Okay, I'm just going back in and going over what I softened with the brush. And this is where it could get fun because now I can go over um, some of the line that I've already put in and go over it again and just make it look a little bit more powerful, a little bit darker, a little bit thicker. This is where your style starts to come into play. Um, a little bit more over here with the dark halftone on the deltoid. I keep saying deltoid, it's trapezius. And then this is our collarbone and another striation of the deltoid. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Um, okay, let's just go a little bit darker with the deltoid shadow. Oh boy. I guess I'm into this. I haven't stood up yet. I should really stand up. Okay, I'm going to do this, people. I'm going to just take a bathroom break. I'm going to leave this up for you. It's a little stiff to me right now. And the reason why it's stiff is because I'm kind of outlining everything. Um, and so, what I could do to take it out of stiff mode is lose edges. I could not outline everything that I'm drawing. There's a lot that I could do, but I'm just trying to model the muscles for you. And it's a little heavy right now, but it's fun. It's definitely a fun exercise. Okay, I'm gonna take a little bathroom break. I will be right back. All right. So let's see. Where's my pencil? Here we go. Here we go. Let's just put in some. Let's just get these hands. Okay. And then I'll do the legs. Let's do the hands, and then I'll zoom out a little bit. First, I'll zoom in, and then we'll zoom out. Okay. Now, the hands are ginormous. They're really big hands, and so the first thing I'm looking at is the negative space between the bicep and the top of the hand, which right now is an underplane. So I'm going to lower this knuckle. Not by much, though. And this pointer finger is all light, and I have it dark. And then we have the middle finger joint, and it goes up. Okay, so next would be, I think this hand needs to be wider still, my God. Let me do the knuckle line and shade the underplane of the hand. It's not super dark. So for me, hold on. I'm just looking for my brush. For me to make this match this, I need to push that into the paper. And I'm just going to erase this out because this finger is light. And this erases beautifully on this paper. That just helped me a lot in terms of the width factor of this hand. So I still feel something needs to be bigger, but let me keep going and let me not overthink it, and let's just draw. Little finger, ring finger. I've got this sparkling water. I don't know if you can hear it. It's right up to the mic. It's really sparkling. Oh my God, gee whiz. It's distracting me. Okay, so ring finger, look at the negative space in between the fingers. This is the FU finger, I guess we'll call this one. The middle finger, I guess. Depends on your mood, the time of the day, who you're dealing with, I guess. Yeah. Lots of variables with that one. Okay, so for famous last words, I don't hate it, so not bad. And I'm doing the side plane. Am I zoomed in enough for you people? Resharpening the pencil. You know, I could get lost in this drawing. It's a lot of fun. It's just, for me right now, it's a little frustrating because I could spend the entire day working on this drawing. And this is, I talk to my students all the time about meeting deadlines and the importance of mentally shifting from one project to the next and not having a hard time shifting, because that was my whole illustration career. I would be working in the middle of a painting part of a book cover, and then I would have to completely stop to finish working on sketches that were due the next morning. So I would always have to stop myself from flow, and either stop myself from flow to have a photo shoot, prepare for a photo shoot, to complete sketches for an art director who's calling me and saying, hey, where are my sketches? And so that is very tough. So this is what's happening to me today. So today, I mean, I could work on this thing all day and really carry it through and draw most of this statue of the dad, but I cannot do that because I have a painting class at 2:00 that I'm into it. I really want to paint and do the oil painting, underpainting, but I'm into this right now. So you really have to be able to switch gears seamlessly and just go from one project to the next. Okay, so now I want to get the shadow of the dad's chin area. And it's curving up here. Okay, so now back to the brush. I could get in the side plane of that little finger, top plane, side plane, chin. And so that's how I would map out that hand for now. It's so not finished, but that's how I would map it out. Just sharpening the pencil, which is getting smaller and smaller. Put it back in the pencil extender. Now this other hand, so I'm looking at the dad's chin. To the top of the little finger shadow, angles, gravity, and this other wrist looking at the negative space. Del Monte green beans, welcome. Okay, now this other hand. I'm focused on the little finger section right now, which is kind of mondo thick here. And now I'm going to get the ring finger, which is close. And I'm looking at the negative space between the chin and the ring finger. These are awesome. What is that? These are awesome hands to draw if you need practice understanding surface planes. So I'm going to use value of shape. That thing is still fizzing. And now I've got the middle finger, and I'm looking at the dad's chin. This is really super good practice. Negative space, and I'm trying to understand what this dark is on the other side of the chin, and I don't think that's the thumb, although it could be the thumb. And I'm going to give it a little value. And back to the middle finger, knuckle bulge. Edge of the hand. Thick, huge, ginormous wrist. Okay, and let me erase something out. This is so not dark over here. I think the thumb is leaning on the cheek. Yes. And let me just get some shape of value in over here. Middle finger, shadow shape. And going into the mouth area. Boy, you got me working here today. My head is bobbing up and down. My God, I'm looking and drawing. It's a good neck exercise. That's basically what's happening here. You have to keep looking. And, when my iPad is above my eyes, I'm looking up. So it's really good exercise, actually, for my neck and looking up, because we're always looking down. Now, something's not right here, so this finger might be too tall. Yes, it is. So it angles down. I'm going to drop it. Better, not great, but better. Um, my God, what a hand. That thing is ginormous. Again, I'm looking at the negative space against the neck chest. Appreciate you all who are joining me today. If you have any questions, just give a holler. Um, be more than happy to help you. I'm just kind of drawing shapes here, or at least I'm trying to. Okay, so now this is the dad's mouth. Yeah, there's a lot of anguish in this pose, this facial expression. So this just involves a lot of looking and a lot of comparing and a lot of concentration. Like if I don't want to be distracted maybe when I'm working on this of listening to a podcast, although I know I could do that, but right now when I'm mapping this out, I think for me it would be better just to like listen to music, um, and maybe not listen to something that I want to learn from and take notes, because I would have to like think about that. And I think right now I'm thinking a little bit more about measurements, um, a lot more about measurements and comparative analysis. Large draw, hello, how are you? Do you have any questions about what we're doing here today? I'm going to lower my sheet of paper, get it plumb and level. Let's work on the dad's face a little bit. So I'm just like comparing things. Angle down eyebrow into the furrow of the brow. There's two furrows of the brow. And this one goes into the other brow bone muscle. And then that just makes a pocket of shadow. The eyes are tilted. This one's a little down. There's a cheekbone, and that goes into the pointer finger. Two little strands of hair right there. And what else can I do here? So this is my first go through, and the center of the dad's forehead is a little bit more in shadow. And then we have a little bit of the side plane of the hair. There's a pocket of shadow on the top. And I want to angle down. Let me resharpen my pencil. So, yeah, for sure, this would just take many hours for me to complete this. You know, right now, if I give myself constructive criticism, unfortunately, right now, the drawing's a little stiff. And the reason why it's stiff is I don't have any edges that I'm losing. I haven't made a firm decision on, do I want to use background tone all around the statue. The background tone would give me the opportunity to lose an edge, to soften an edge, and to have a hard edge. So there's just many, many things that I haven't decided upon just yet. But it's just an exercise. That's all. I'm just trying to show you how I would do this versus doing a female body that's a little bit more gestural and a little bit more free flow. This Ugolino statue is just way more about definition, different things. Um, wow, this is really a dark. Goes around over here. I don't want to go too dark with this. It's very, very cool. Lower eyelid. And we've got a lower eyelid over here that is just the ball of the eye. And yeah, there's a reflected light on the underplane of the brow. Okay. I don't want to go too crazy with the face. I want to keep moving, and I think I want to draw the knees. I can have a ton of fun with this. Let's just blend it. Questions? Hold on now. Um, Back to this trapezius and the collarbone, which is below the hand mat. Just solidifying some edges and moving some things around. A couple of form lines. And maybe a little bit more value here. I could refine. Hold on, let me cut my eraser. 1 second. Let's see here. So we've got the joint and the knuckle that is bulging. I could have bulged it a little bit more. Oh, I see that hand. Let me brush the eraser crumbs away. This hand is not light. So we've got a bulging knuckle with a tendon, extensor tendon that lifts fingers back. And we've got another one here. And the shadow shape on the side of the hand into the ulna bone. And let me just press down a little bit harder here. Okay. And that little finger feels a little long to me. Let me just see if I can't refine the edge. So basically, everybody is different, of course, and there are many different artists out there, especially here on YouTube, and everyone's into their own thing. So for me, this is just more about modeling, and this is what most of my illustration career was. It was modeling, and this is kind of like second nature to me. The thing is that when I model, I model in layers. So what you're seeing here is the first layer of modeling, and it's like you're drawing the scene, the statue, whatever, and you're modeling simultaneously. And then there's the second go through of the modeling where you make decisions about what you're going to put in, what you're going to leave out, what's going to be, how you're going to make the piece feel looser and not stiff. And I'm not there yet, not even close. Like, this is just, I guess, what you're seeing here is the first go through of me drawing this Ugolino pose. Um, and it's definitely a slow go for sure. But, again, I'm trying to just offer up a place where I'm showing you how I would tackle this and answering your questions. Again, for some people, this might be extremely boring watching me do this like amount of detail, and for other people, if they want to do this amount of detail, then it's a little bit more interesting. So I hope this is working for you. I think you wouldn't be here if you weren't into modeling. And again, this is just like kind of my first go through with it. It really needs a lot of work, and I'm so not going to finish this in 2 hours. But at least you can get a sense of how I would start it. And let's just get this elbow. Wow, this arm is crazy detail. It's definitely not that dark, but I'm using a dark edge line. And this is the sun's back. Oh, this is the sun's brow. Separation of face and nose, and their deltoid. Okay, I don't want to get into the son's hair right now. Let me just do the father's forearm. And we've got a little shadow shape over here. This technically should be lighter. Very hard edge there. Yeah, and so we've just got. I think this is brachial radialis, and this Ugolino is extremely cut, very thin. So we're seeing these cuts in the muscles. And when you do the cuts in the muscles like this, what could happen is things get very stiff, right? Because you're separating everything. And to me, it there's an art to doing this, and I'm trying my very best to do this as fast as I can do it here this morning, to get in as much as I can get in and show you as much as I can here. But ultimately, you've got to find a way to draw all the cuts in the muscles, but yet have them look not stiff, and that would be the goal. Okay, this is the son's elbow, and above the father's upper leg. And now we have the dad's knee. And the other knee. Is this on camera? No, not really. Uh, Questions? I say we go for like another 10 minutes or so, and then maybe we'll call this a live stream. Um, the drawing needs a lot of work. It needs a ton of work. It's just like I said, everything is about like go throughs, and um, this is really a first go through. Still have a lot to look at, a lot to draw. My goodness. And a lot, another thing that comes into play with this is whether or not you're going to match the values that you see, or are you going to manipulate and change the values that you see to make it more of your own piece. And I can't even think about that right now, but that would be what you would think about if you're going to work on this much longer than what I'm doing here. I don't really use a sketchbook. I only use a sketch pad. And I don't have one. I did show you one from last week. I don't have another. I could look very quickly if I have time at the end. It's a bigger 18 by 24 pad that's current. And that is so clumsy for me to show because it's a big pad. And the area that I'm showing here right now this is small. So yeah, this is only like 6 inches, and I can zoom out, of course, but 18 by 24 pad is very difficult for me to show. I could show maybe a couple of drawings that I have. I'll try to get a drawing that one or two on the wall. Okay, so yeah, I was working on this and then I strayed from it. Okay, so let me zoom out. And let me zoom out more. And then let me raise the drawing. So I want to get the dad's legs in. Let me keep it like this. So, um, okay, so knee, fibula area, calf muscle. This is the tibia, and this is the kneecap patella. And this, let's see here, angles in, calf muscle angles out. The other side of the gastrocnemius, that's too long. And then I'm just going to cruise on down because that knee is back. That leg is angled back. So I would just do that cylinder. This would be the ankle, which is basically the fibula. And then we've got this foot. I'm going to go to the toes. So that feels short. So I can lower that a little bit and see how I like that. So now I don't see this leg because the hands are blocking it. But I'm just going to indicate where that ankle is and then lean back, look at this from far away, look at the width here. And I'm going to make this longer versus shorter. Yeah, and this would be the hamstring area of the dad's leg. Okay, one son's hair, the other son's hair, the other son's face. And hamstring, quad, hamstring separation of the ITB band, and let's just use a downward pencil stroke to get that shadow. And then calf muscle, soleus, fibula, ankle, and top of the foot, which is very hard to see, little toe. It's not that long. It's not that long at all. Now, since I am not going to be finishing this, I've got to really be careful that I don't draw your attention down over here. I kind of already have. But this is how I'm just trying to use this for a teaching situation. I'm just trying to show you how I would start to map out the feet. Yeah. And I'd rather have them longer than shorter. Now I'm going to go to my other photo of the whole pose. And if, let me just raise this. Hold on. I want to make sure that it's level and plumb. Okay. So if I was going to draw the whole pose, that's a little wide for me. This would be the hip. I'm looking at the width from the calf muscle to the dad's ankle. And this foot is lower than the dad's foot. I haven't even established where I want the dad's foot. So that would be maybe mapping that out. This would be the, I don't know if you can even see what the heck I'm doing, but I'm just going to J Ring, thank you so much for that. Yeah, the peanut shape is everything. Uh, Once you learn it, you can't unlearn it. And I don't draw that for every pose, but when I draw out of my imagination, I do a lot. My God, this person has some thick neck. So this arm's tilting, tilting up, and I'm just going to kind of map this out. Chris, welcome. Almost done here. And so if that's that foot, this son's foreshortened leg, I'm just going to do a cylinder over here, is much lower than that foot. So I would gesture that. That is to the left of the oblique. And then we have this leg. This head's bigger, this shoulder. So if that's the dad's back, this shoulder should be off to the left more, much more. Oh, and then we have this. And this foot is equal with that arm. The other head is here. The constructive criticism that I have, and it's just me, the sculptor, probably can blow my skill level away if we were meet today. But this head, when I look at the statue, just feels so small. These legs together. And then I'm going to look for a connector. So we have this lower leg now connects with this forearm. And the other little boy who's laying down over here, I'm just going to, their eye is across from dad's ankle, but I still don't know if I like that for dad's feet ankle area, to say the least. This would be that torso, tilt of the head, other son's arms, gesture, and yeah. So this is kind of how I would start to go about now mapping out the rest of it. And you know, I'm kind of rushing the drawing right now. I'm not taking perfection like measurements, because that just is time consuming right now. Why can't I erase this? But I think this kind of gives you a sense of how I would go about doing this. So realistic drawings is just modeling form, and basically what you're modeling is ovals. And I think the one, not all, but one of the main differences between something that is realistic and something that is a little bit more stylized is that something that is realistic, the edges are way more complicated. So yeah, this drawing, it needs a ton of work, but this is the beginnings of kind of how I would do this. And I don't know, maybe what I'll do is I'll save this for the next live stream next Tuesday, and I'll work on this some more. And maybe what I'll do is just try to finish it, and maybe try to model it a little bit more than what I have here. For me right now, again, I'm repeating myself. The drawing just feels very stiff. Like I'm not used to working like this in terms of rendering everything, and it just, my gut is telling me that this drawing is extremely stiff. So if I was going to keep working on this piece of art, my goal is to find a way to take the stiff quality out of it, because it is a stiff drawing right now. And some of my thicks and thins aren't necessarily correct. So I would also have to keep measuring and keep erasing and keep trying to figure it all out. Uh, I'm just going to put a little bit more quick tone here. And I think it doesn't matter what your style is. I think it's always good to draw with line and tone in this style of art. Uh, yeah, so, God, let's see, what time is it? 2 more minutes. Let's work on this for 2 more minutes. Now, listen, I'm out of here in like 2 minutes because I really need to take a little bit of a break before I prep for my painting Zoom class, which is oil painting. We're doing an underpainting of the Ang princess painting, and so I need to prep for that. And so, does anybody have any questions before we close this live stream out? Let me, with that being said, let me go get a drawing or two to share. So, in the grand scheme of things, everybody, this drawing is not even close. Where are my glasses? For Pete's sakes, hold on. In the grand scheme of things, this drawing isn't even close to being finished. It would need many, many, many more hours. But like I said, I just kind of wanted, and I didn't switch over to this. I'm sorry, my bad. Let's go to Ugo full. Um, it needs way more time, way more time. Now, in the grand scheme of things, these are two other drawings that I've done that will show you how I would like it to look if I did have that time. And let me zoom in here. So this is one that I don't think I did on a video. I think I just kind of drew this on my own. And this would be what I would really want the Ugolino piece to look like. Like I really like this drawing a lot. You can see that it's not completely outlined everywhere. It's looser. You can see I moved this leg over 3 times. Like it was here, then it was here, and then it was here. Oops. What did I just do there? There we go. And you could see that everything is a little bit softer. I've got the form lines over there. I really like this drawing, and it's a complete unfinished drawing. It's like an oxymoron. I just wanted to do a study. I really wanted to draw this statue for the class. I just couldn't find it. Okay. And the other one that I would like to complete to like this level. So here's another one that is a whole another level of like realism with the pencil. Love it or hate it, I like this drawing a lot. And when you look at this drawing, the one that I'm looking at today doesn't even have close to this vibe of like completion. And it really is a balance of using the brush, using the eraser, not overworking things, and yeah. So, but it's a live stream, and it's not me working on my own, and it's also a different paper. So this is the Legion paper, the Stonehenge colors, and this is the my favorite paper, which is cheaper. It's a Strathmore 400 paper, and I've done my best drawings on that paper. So it's interesting how this when I draw with this with Col-Erase, everything is much darker, and it's actually much easier to get the darks on this particular paper. Let me just look at the final questions here. Thank you, Max Simlozen. I hope I said that. I know I didn't say that right. I apologize. Thank you, Elizabeth. I appreciate you joining the class. And yeah, I've got a lot of sketchbook videos of the students. I have like maybe 4 older ones on my iPhone. I just need to find the time to post them. Thank you for that. And I don't draw on Bristol paper. I I don't draw on Bristol. It doesn't work for me. This is what we're going to be doing this afternoon. This is a loose underdrawing of the princess, and we're going to be painting this in oil painting class. So I'm really looking forward. This is 4-ply illustration board that is painted on both sides with acrylic, and I will be painting on top of this in oil. So I'm really looking forward to that this afternoon. Thank you, Paul. Appreciate it. Do I ever shade with hatching, since hatching lines go parallel to each other? I don't shade that way. I use all different types of strokes, but I don't cross hatch. So I will go like up, 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 like I'll do that type of stroke. I'll never cross hatch. Like cross hatching for me, I'm not a fan. Like my shading lines go with the direction of the limb. So if the limb is vertical, like what you see here, my shading lines are going vertical. But then I'll do some wraparound at the top. So I am scribbling. Maybe you can call this section of the abs like a little bit of crosshatch, but I don't do a lot of crosshatching. I use what is called form lines. And even over here, what you see on this leg is form lines. Now, I don't know if you can see that on YouTube on the quality of the video, but there are plenty of form lines over there that I'm drawing with. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's just, Paul, don't think of it as hard. Just think of it as time consuming, with lots and lots and lots of measuring involved. Yes. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. I really appreciate you joining me here today. It was a lot of fun. And oops, why does that keep happening to me? Where is my mouse? I will really make a decision this week as to whether or not I'm going to, thank you, Alexander. Thank you so much. As to whether or not I'm going to continue with this drawing. I think it has potential for sure. And it's definitely a lot of fun. It's a little different on this paper for me, and I need to take that into consideration the next time I do a drawing like this. Yeah, you got it, Slaw Draw. Thank you for joining. Now, listen, everybody, I haven't done any promotion for anything, but I would ask you if you can like the video. If you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. If you want to get notified when I go live, click on the bell so YouTube will notify you when I go live, and that would be helpful. Thank you so much. Wow, 2 hours and 4 minutes. Holy Moses, I need to eat lunch. I've already had 3 cups of coffee, so I don't know if I can have another one. Paul, thank you. Alexander, thank you. Batman, thank you. Chris, thank you. Slawdraw, thank you. Elizabeth, thank you. Max Simlo. I can't even say it. Yeah, you need dinner. Absolutely, you need dinner. Go eat. Make it whole food, something you can pronounce. I'm on like a health kick. No boxes and barcodes. All right. See y'all, everybody. Take it easy. Take it easy. Good job.